This is the Big Deal Podcast, brought to you and powered by New Covenant Baptist Church in Albertville, Alabama. And on this podcast, we're asking the question, what's the big deal about all things Bible, theology, and culture? I'm Justin.
I'm Brad.
Welcome to the Big Deal. Welcome. Welcome to you, folks.
Howdy.
You find folks out there, listen away on your iPhones. And does anyone use Androids?
Yes,
Really?
they do.
Really?
Some people do. Not everybody's in the cult.
Maniacs.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
It's true.
I've been bought into the cult since 2010, I think. 16 years.
Early adopter.
Yeah, I was. I guess, is that early?
I don't know.
I really don't know. There were already people using Macs.
I can't tell time anymore.
Yeah. I love it, though. I'm a big Mac guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Macs.
I don't
I'm
love
not a
time.
big Mac guy.
Yeah.
I'm a big Mac guy.
He is a Big Mac guy, though.
I don't really like Big Macs. It's too much bread.
Too much bread.
I like the sauce, though. If I want like a quarter pounder with the Mac sauce
Yeah.
and the lettuce and pickles. I like that. That would be great. Why won't they do that? What's wrong with McDonald's? Like, that's obviously the better burger.
Well, they are not Burger King. You can't have it your way.
Yeah, that's true. I don't like Burger King, though.
Oh.
I don't know. It just doesn't make my tummy feel very good. All right. You ready to talk about Jesus?
Yeah.
All right. You don't want to talk about Burger King and my tummy anymore?
No, I had a phone call. I just ditched it. But I was thinking about time when you said, is that a long time ago? And that's where my head went.
Okay.
I just had to have my weed eater repaired.
Yeah.
And the carburetor had to be replaced. And my wife was like, what do we got to do to take better care of the carburetor? And I was like, well, the carburetor is 19 years old. Yeah. It just was broken. She was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh. I said, yeah, we're old. Junk is breaking that. But that's a steel weed eater, man. I've been running that thing for 19 years, and it just got to where it was just dumping gas in it.
Yeah. Those are great pieces of machinery, though.
Anyway.
All right, we're talking about Jesus today. We're doing Christology. So the last 2 weeks we spent on, we did anthropology, which is about people, humans, right? And then we did hamartiology, which is about sin.
Yeah.
And so the doctrines of humanity and sin, and those are really important before you talk about the doctrine of Jesus, which is Christology, because when you talk about Jesus, the most incredible things about him are how he both fulfills and contrasts what we find in the doctrine of humanity and the doctrine of sin. Jesus is everything that humans were supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And he is without corruption that sin it brought into the world, right? So you had to talk about those two things before you talk about Jesus, because a lot of what we're finding in Christ is like I said, the fulfillment of anthropology, humanity, and the contrast to all the sinfulness in the world. So that's what we're going to do today. This is an old debate. It's an old doctrine, old issue, right?
Well, yeah.
This is one of the first things people began to pick at and try to figure out how to articulate in Christian doctrine, because it's a little complex. It's a little? Yeah. And, when you think about doctrine in the Bible, in theology, well, I should say this. If you think that the Bible is a theology book, you've probably not read much of the Bible. It's a bunch of story, right? There's a lot of narrative involved, and you build a lot of your doctrine out of story, out of the narrative. And you might think that every doctrinal point is like this clear, and this is exactly what Jesus is and what he does and what you might think that if you're not familiar with the Bible. And that would be what doctrine is. It's just a one-to-one straight from the Bible. But the Bible's not doing that. Mostly. It does that sometimes.
I mean, if you want to think about it in just a word-for-word count way, if you take the Gospel of Luke and then Luke's book of Acts, that's more than Paul wrote.
Yeah, that's right. And it's all story.
It's all story. It's all narrative. So every single gospel is a narrative. Then you've got Luke and Acts, and it's narrative. And Revelation is not didactic. It's not quite narrative, but it's closer to narrative than didactic.
Absolutely it is.
Because it's a story. So the rest of it is teaching, like you might think of a math class almost, and the rest is like literature class.
Yep. That's right.
The largest book in the Bible is a poetry book.
Yep.
That's the book of Psalms. And there is no didactic book in the Old Testament.
Yeah. So
is there? No.
There
are didactic portions.
You might say you could think of like Proverbs and Ecclesiastes
maybe.
as something like that, but it's not the same.
Really,
it's not the same.
No.
So the thing is you come to the Bible with very objective questions, though. Mm-hmm. So you see things like, and that we're going to talk about today, about Jesus as he's unfolding in the Gospels, and you're like,
or even in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesus himself is not eternal. The Son of God is eternal.
Yeah.
There was a time when he wasn't human.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's be careful of that.
God the Son.
He was God the Son forever.
God the Son pre-exists.
Yes.
But
Jesus is born at a physical time in a physical place on a physical date.
Yeah, and all of that stuff comes from like looking at the narrative and pulling in, not pulling some things out. That's not the right way to say it, but to like making your observations from the narrative. And so you might have some questions about Jesus, and that everyone who's ever read the Bible does generally. And they go something like this: is Jesus God?
Yes.
Is Jesus a human?
Yes.
And everyone wonders, how do you put those two things together?
Why? And I think a very necessary question is, what difference does it make? That's a big question.
If you can put them together.
Or what difference does it make if he's really a man? What difference does it make if he's really God?
That makes a big difference.
Huge difference. Yeah. But on the surface, if you're just kind of getting into Christianity or listening, you'd be like, is this really worth fighting over? It's like, it's absolutely essential. This is the center point of theology. Like the nature of God and the nature of Jesus Christ is the center point of Christianity.
The way we talk about with our kids when we do this in the catechism is I usually hold up like, have you seen those like those page separators people use for binders, and they're like kind of like they're clear, but like it's red clear or blue clear, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'll like hold them up and be like, the red one is humanity and the blue one is divinity. And I put them together, and what do they make? Purple, right? You put them together. I'm like, so is Jesus, and I'll do like half red and half blue, and I'll put them together. Is Jesus like half man and half human? And they'll look at me like, yeah, maybe. Or wait a second, but is he mostly human and a little bit God? And I'm like, I don't think it's that one. And then I'll show it like is he all or like mostly God, but with like a little human, and they puzzle, I think it's closer to that one. And then I put them together, and the whole thing is purple. The whole thing is truly God and truly humanity and truly human. And that's kind of how we explain it to them. And that's what the Bible, when you look at the text, that's what the observations you make are.
He's not a third thing.
He's not a third thing. He is truly God, truly human.
Yes.
And we have some Bible verses to talk about.
We do.
To get to that.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about the history of it kind of along the way or after it maybe. So Jesus' true divinity. Mm-hmm. You can look at a lot of different places for this. He makes many comments about it. I would say the easiest way to talk about it is to look at Jesus specific quotes. Like one of the first places we go to when we're talking about the Trinity is John 1, right? But that's not Jesus's quote, like as if he's like talking.
Yeah.
That's John talking, which I think is obviously the word of God.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. But the question people have, a lot of times skeptics have when they come to the Bible, is did Jesus himself think he was God?
Right.
Which is
this
different,
like a Christian thing we added to the
That's
legend,
right. And so that's the reason I would start with Jesus's own quotations, not what John says about Jesus. What does Jesus say about Jesus? Mm-hmm. And for that, you should start at Matthew 13. There are really good answers. So Matthew 13, verse 41 says this. this is Jesus talking. He says, the Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather from his kingdom all who cause sin and those guilty of lawlessness. Mm-hmm. So whose angels are they?
There he is.
Yeah, and Jesus has said he is the Son of Man.
Yeah, and that's a whole other loaded term.
It is, yeah. But he claims to be Son of Man, very explicitly, and the Son of Man has angels.
Yeah,
right. Who has angels? Only God has angels, right? Another good place to go, we looked at this when we talked about the Trinity too, is Mark chapter 2, which this is the story of the man who is lowered. Or is it? Yeah, he's lowered down from the roof.
His four buddies.
Yeah, his four buddies lower him down. And it goes like this. They came to him bringing a paralytic, carried by four of them. Since they were not able to bring him to Jesus because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him, and after digging through it, they lowered the mat on which the paralytic was lying. Seeing their faith, Jesus told the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." But some of the scribes were sitting there questioning in their hearts, "Why does he speak like this? He is blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone?"
They were correct.
Yeah, and they're right. Yeah.
That only God can forgive sins. Of that much, they were correct.
Yeah. Right away, Jesus perceived in his spirit that they were thinking like this within themselves and said to them, "Why are you thinking these things in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up, take your mat, and walk'?" So what's the answer?
The answer is they're both impossible.
That's right, for all of them in there, right?
But actually, the more impossible would be to forgive sin.
Yes.
But both of these are divine acts.
Yeah, you have someone like Elijah and Moses, who are miracle workers in the Old Testament, who are not God.
No.
And so you have God working
But they would
miracles
say God works miracles through them. Which is an evidence that they are a prophet of God.
That's right.
You can't be a dirty, rotten scoundrel liar and be working miracles of God.
Yeah.
Because even, so in John chapter 3, when Nicodemus comes to Jesus by night, Nicodemus is on the Sanhedrin, which is the ruling council of Jews, and they send Nicodemus to talk to Jesus at night. And he says, "Good teacher, we know that people cannot do the things you're doing unless they come from God."
Yeah.
He says that to him. And so that's what Jesus is doing with this, like, frying pan fire example. He's like, which one would be easier for me to say, get up and walk? Well, I'm like, to do that, you'd have to be a prophet.
Yeah.
You have to be truthful. And you'd have to be from God.
From God, yeah.
But he can't forgive sins because only God can forgive sins.
Elijah and Moses weren't forgiven sins.
So if he can do one and he's saying he can do the other, I'm leaving.
Yeah, yes, that's
scared.
what Jesus says.
Yeah.
But so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins, he told the paralytic, "I tell you, get up, take your mat, and go home." Immediately he got up, took the mat, and went out in front of everyone.
Which is my favorite thing because it was so crowded they couldn't get in the room. So he has to carry this pallet out of this crowded room that he couldn't walk into. He's like, sorry. I like that that scene. He's probably embarrassed, and his buddies are up there hooping and hollering, I'm sure, because their buddy just got up and walked. So that's when I say I'm leaving, that's a scary moment. It should be framed as a scary moment for them because, like, when Jesus, they wake him up from his nap, and the only time he ever slept in the whole Bible, they woke him up, and he wakes up and because they're about to drown.
Yeah,
right
so
there
during the storm,
there's a big storm, and Jesus gets up and says, "Peace, be still," and the storm and the waves stop.
Yeah,
and what's the reaction? Everybody's afraid.
Yeah.
They said, "Who is this man that he can command the wind and waves?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't know, but don't wake him up again."
Yeah. Well, you think of like, okay, well, who did something similar to that in the Old Testament? You have Moses who splits the Red Sea. But now, if you remember that narrative, like, it is very clear it is God, it is Yahweh doing that, right? Moses is just kind of bumming around with the staff. And so in here, Jesus is the one commanding himself, right? And that's the big difference there. There's some more passages. Mark 2:27, just later on that same passage. He says, the Sabbath, Jesus talking, the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. So then the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is one of the 10 Commandments. It's the Decalogue, right? This is the important law of God, and He is claiming authority over it, right? Authority over the law, to abrogate it, change it, inform how it's supposed to be read and understood.
Now He doesn't. He just says He's the Lord of it.
Yep.
And what they were doing was not illegal. It was against the Pharisaical law.
Yeah, that's right.
The law was made for life.
That's right. Yeah.
So they were able to pick enough to eat that day.
Yeah. So here's another one, Matthew 25:31. When the Son of Man comes in His glory, all the angels with Him then will sit on His glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before Him. Did I read that one right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, through the whole passage. Yeah, all the nations will be gathered before Him, and He will separate them one from another, just as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on His right. It doesn't say God is going to do this. It says the Son of Man, Jesus Himself, is going to do this. Then the King will say to those on His right, "Come, you who are blessed by the Father, and here." Who's the King? It's Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? Blessed by the Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So Jesus is the King who is in charge of the judgment, the great judgment, right? That's a God thing, right? And so it's more evident, kind of like self-evidence. The reason these are important is because if you're looking for a moment where Jesus tells a whole crowd of people, He says, "I am Yahweh, I am God." He doesn't do that. Jesus does it like this. He does it where He says, I am Lord of the Sabbath, and I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I am...
He does it once.
Maybe. I think it's in John 8.
Yeah.
I think it's very
They did want to kill Him for a reason. Yeah,
so John 8, we'll look at that one now. John 8:58.
While you're getting there, you want to just read it? You want me to summarize?
I'm going to read it. He says, Jesus says, "If I glorify myself, my glory is nothing. My Father, about whom you say He is our God, He is the one who glorifies me." "You do not know Him, but I know Him." He says, "You don't know Him, but I know Him. If I were to say I don't know Him, I would be a liar like you. But I do know Him, and I keep His word. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day. He saw it and was glad." The Jews replied, "You aren't 50 years old yet, and you've seen Abraham?" Jesus said to them, "Truly I tell you, before Abraham was, I am." So they picked up stones to throw Him, but Jesus was hidden and went out of the temple.
Yeah, He said, "Ego, eimi."
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, and so...
Emphatically. He introduced Himself in the same way in Greek as God introduced Himself to Moses through the burning bush.
Yeah. In the burning bush moment, He says, "I am who I am," or I am that I am.
I am that I am.
I am that I am. I am is really what it is.
I am.
Yeah, it's in that's where we get the proper name Yahweh from, in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew. And so it's likely, well, number one, minimally we could say this passage is about Jesus' preexistence.
Yes.
Right?
Because He knew Abraham saw my day.
Yeah. And before Abraham
And here's
was,
the thing, his interlocutors, his questioners immediately understood that Jesus is claiming to be divine, which is why they picked up stones to kill Him, because it was blasphemy.
Yep.
They thought, we've heard blasphemy out of His mouth, we're going to kill Him.
That's right.
Yep.
And so it's likely, it would be a little bit easier just to nail it down solid if it was like, "I am that I am." I mean, that would be the explicit. But I think it's still pretty clear. And you put it with all these other ones where He has angels, He's in charge of the judgment. He does things that only God does in the Old Testament, forgiving sins. I think I got another one. Yeah, John 3 actually. John 3:13. No one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. I mean, that's explicit too. So, and that's about, he's talking about knowing heavenly things, right? Yeah, no one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. And he's talking about himself. And I think I got another one. John 14:23. Are you looking something up?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. If anyone loves me, he will keep my word. My word, right? My Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. We will come to him and make our home with him. So, like, he's claiming a connection with the Father, with God, that no one else is even. It's not even. There's nothing like it anywhere in the Scriptures to see someone talk to God like Jesus talks to God.
Nobody, or talks about himself. They accuse him of blasphemy because he makes God out to be his Father.
Yeah,
I mean, and then he says, "I am the I am," which. What I was looking up to see in the Septuagint, the Greek version, he does tell Moses, "I am the ego eimi." But he adds another little phrase to it. But they knew immediately what Jesus was saying.
Yeah,
he was claiming to be Yahweh.
That was Brad giving us some Greek right there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I had to look it up.
Ego is
I.
Yeah.
You actually don't need a. Eimi
it's
means
not a
I
waffle.
am.
It's not a waffle though.
It's
Ego waffles.
It's just exactly like I said. It's a dead language.
Yeah.
Nobody knows really.
That's right.
They like to pretend that they know.
Yeah,
but
you didn't get my Eggo waffle joke?
I did, but I thought you was making fun of me, so it hurt my feelings.
Oh, I was a little bit.
I thought so. Yeah. But anyway, you don't need that. You don't need the pronoun in Greek because eimi is enough.
Yeah,
It means I am. So to use both can be seen as emphatic.
Yeah. So you have this other one. Jesus talks about God in a wild way. He is. There's just no one like him in the Bible. And you put it all together, and even though he doesn't come out and say, "I am God, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob," he doesn't say that. He says it in all the other ways.
He says it enough. Listen, ultimately, Jesus is murdered because of his claim of being God.
Yeah. And
because at the end, when he says, "You won't see me again until you see me coming in the clouds of glory," he's not talking about floaty clouds in the sky, but the glory of God that filled the temple, the indicator of the presence of God.
Yeah.
And so when he says that, they say, "What further need of witnesses do we need? Do we have?"
Yeah.
This man's blasphemed.
That's right.
And they rip their garments. So
it's an issue. It's really a modern reader issue. It's not an ancient reader issue. They all saw it very clearly. We're the ones who kind of look at him and be like, "What? Just say you're God." And the ancient reader might say, "What are you talking about?"
He literally said it. Yeah. What are you doing? When he tells you who he is, believe him the first time.
Yeah. One thing you might wonder about is why we're not talking about being the Son of God much. And that's an interesting thing because, like, the Son of God is a common theme in the Gospels too. And when you hear Son of God, you're thinking, okay, Father, Son. Well, that's it. That is the evidence of being God. Mm-hmm. And it's likely part of it, but it's not a great argument for his deity because David's also called the Son of God. The kings of Jerusalem are called the Son of God in the Old Testament. So a lot of the times when you have Son of God language, it's a way to talk about kingship.
It's definitely a way to talk about messiahship. Though.
Messiah, definitely that. But the Messiah being God was not clear in the Old Testament. I think we can look back when it's all said and done and we can see it. But in the Isaiah, some of the Isaiah passages, but it wasn't clear to them. They didn't know that the Messiah was going to be God himself.
I hesitate to say it. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah,
but I think some of them were looking for it.
That might be true. I guess I mean like the masses.
It wasn't like 100% agreement.
The Pharisees.
But by the time you get to Jesus' day, you've got Sadducees who reject basically all of the prophets, resurrection of life. There was no resurrection to eternal life, a bodily
bodily resurrection.
That's the word I'm looking for. So the idea that nobody was expecting a divine Messiah is, I don't think, true. I don't think it was necessarily even a majority.
We don't get it.
But somebody was reading those Isaiah passages and the Daniel passages and stuff and going,
Yeah.
It's kind of like a...
And I think it's likely. We just don't have it written down.
No, it's
really,
but you know what? I'm trying to think of what they're dealing with. So they're like the guys who are unfortunately have read George Martin's books and he's done. You know, he's written 5 books and they're speculating on in the Old Testament days. They're speculating on how is this going to finish. You know, because they don't have all the books yet.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what is Jon Snow really going to be? Is he the whatever? And then of course the heresy is the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never watched it.
Yeah. Anyway, but they didn't have the complete picture, but they were definitely speculating on what is this Messiah going to be.
Yeah,
he's going to sit on the throne forever.
Yeah,
right. He says that in 2 Samuel chapter 7. What do you mean he's going to sit on the throne forever? And Jesus loved to quote. Oh, which psalm is it? Oh. It's the most quoted psalm in the New Testament, I think. Where he said, "The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand."
I know
what
you mean. Yeah.
And Jesus says, how can David, being king, say, the Lord said to my Lord? Who is above David?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. So why? So they had these passages like, man, Messiah's going to be something.
Yeah.
He's going to sit on the throne forever. We're going to call him Everlasting Father.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you really know about is what's kind of like held in the Talmud and some of those, which are late. Most of them are later than Jesus,
so right?
And some have a lot of.
It's sort of like reading the Counter Reformation, trying to and getting your doctrine from it.
Yeah.
As a Catholic, you're wondering where did this Counter Reformation stuff? What are they trying to fix?
Yeah, yeah.
And the Talmud and stuff's trying to fix Christianity.
A lot of it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the explicit details right there that Jesus was God. He claimed to be God. He might not have done it in a way that you want it to be done, or maybe not you, but some secularists out there that's wanting
Jesus is way more fun than that.
Yeah, and I think too, like fitting. I think he fit. He knows who he's talking to.
Yeah,
you know. In that day and age, like you would maybe today you wouldn't use a bunch of allusions the way the allusions, not the I allusions, the way he is doing it to Old Testament passages, but they knew them.
Yeah, they knew them.
They knew their Bible, and so in a lot of ways, it's probably a more thorough way of claiming to be God to them, to people who know the Bible.
Jesus was a teacher.
Yeah.
And he was trying to make you come to the conclusion.
Yeah.
He's not just going to carve it in a bat and hit you in the head with it. He's like, so just think with me for a moment. If someone can just speak and heal someone who's been paralyzed a good portion of time, just by speaking, make them well. And he also has the power on earth to forgive sins. Who is he? He does that all the time with people. Yeah. So he's like, what is the greatest commandment? Mm-hmm. He doesn't just tell them. He's always asking people questions. People ask him questions. Sometimes he returns a question. They said, by what authority do you do these things in the temple? Mm-hmm. He said, I'm going to ask you a question. By what authority did John the Baptist baptize? And they say, we don't know. Because they didn't want to say it was from God, because then the people would stone them. Oh, no, because they didn't believe John.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to say it's from man, because the people regarded John as a prophet, and they would stone them.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, we don't know. Mm-hmm. And Jesus said, well, I'm not going to tell you the answer to your question either then.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not going to come to the table with some intellectual honesty. You know?
Yeah. Let's hear what you got to say.
That's right. So
because they couldn't say it came from heaven, because John the Baptist baptized Jesus and saw the Spirit of God descend on him like a dove, and they'd be like, oh, no, but we also don't want to die. He kind of called them out on their cowardice a little bit.
That's right. Now these are just the explicit quotes from Jesus. Mm-hmm. There are a myriad of other passages in the New Testament.
A myriad means a plethora.
Which means
a lot.
Yeah, there are a ton of passages about Jesus' divinity that, in the Gospel of John 1, John is talking, John is saying those things, all through the Pauline epistles, Peter, Hebrews.
It's so obvious in the Gospel of John that the skeptics are pretty much forced to say John was written at a much later date.
That's what they do. They go, John, the skeptics kind of look at it and say, John was probably, 3rd century, some people say, 2nd, 3rd century.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Well, you have copies of it older than that.
Yeah. And I think they were making those claims before we had those papyri, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those papyri are fairly recent.
Papyri are like paper documents.
Papyrus. Made out of, it's like the reeds.
Beaten reeds.
Yeah.
They don't last.
Yeah, we found them
in
recently.
Very specific conditions. Super dry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, John is much older than the 3rd century.
Yeah, it's 1st century. Yeah. It's late 1st century.
We know that.
Yeah. All right. Is Jesus?
Hold on now.
Yeah.
1st century people. What years are those? That's 1 to 99.
It's 1 to 99.
That's 1st century.
Yeah.
Some people think 1st century is like hundreds.
I know it's confusing.
It's confusing.
Yeah. That's why we're in the 21st century.
There is no zero.
The 2000, the 20s. Right?
There actually is no year zero. Period.
Yeah. So
don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Somebody out there went, wait a minute, there's no year zero?
Yeah.
And they're not thinking about it.
So the answer is Jesus truly God? Yeah, the Bible is plenty clear on that. Now, is Jesus truly man? It's kind of funny. A lot of people are very cool with Jesus being God, truly God, like religious people. They're fine with Jesus being God. It makes a lot of sense. They will accidentally, they'll say things like, God the Father died on the cross for me. On accident. They'll say things like that on accident because of how convinced they are that Jesus is God.
Yes.
Jesus as a human is a little more uncomfortable for religious people. It's not for secular people. Secular people want to hammer that Jesus was merely a human. But the humanity of Jesus is sometimes a little uncomfortable for religious people. Think like the birth narratives. Mm-hmm. And you have to, we know Jesus was born as a baby.
Yes.
What do babies do?
Well, the earliest heresy did deny his divinity. The earliest ones.
Yeah.
Not divine. They just started kind of monkeying with the idea of divinity. That was the Arians.
We'll talk about the heresies in a minute.
Yeah.
We're just going to talk about the
proof
evidence.
that he's human?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the birth narratives. You've got from the jump in Genesis chapter 3,
mm-hmm.
right? At the fall, the woman is going to have a child who will crush the head of the serpent. And that is a messianic passage, even for Jewish people.
Yeah.
The Messiah is going to come from the seed of the woman.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. And we're looking for him through the whole Old Testament. And so from the start, we know that he's going to be a human being. He's not only going to be the son of woman, or son of Eve, son of Mary later, but we know that he's going to be the son of Jacob. We know he's going to be the son of Abraham. We know he's going to be the son of Isaac. We know he's going to be the son of David. We know he's going to come from the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
We know all this stuff from the Old Testament. Well, before we even get out of the book of Genesis, we know this stuff.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be a human being who comes from Israel, and he is going to be a king, and the obedience of the nations will belong to him.
Yep.
We know that even before Israel has a kingdom.
Yeah. And he is born as a baby. And
he had no teeth.
You know what babies can do?
Cry.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where things get uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's weird.
Wait, did Jesus have to have his diaper changed?
Yes.
Did Jesus
have to learn to speak?
Yeah.
Yes. The word was wordless.
Mm-hmm. Did Jesus have to learn how to behave?
Yes.
All right. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think sometimes Mary said, no cookies before dinner, and he was like, oh.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's not sinful.
No.
But was he ever misbehaving? Like, did he ever not obey his parents?
No, he always obeyed.
Yeah. Because Jesus is still sinless.
He's in every way like we are, yet without sin.
Yeah, that's the Hebrews passage.
Yeah. And sometimes, by the way, y'all be accusing these babies of sin when they didn't.
That's right. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Stop being resentful towards your babies, man.
I say babies 12 and okay, I've been in this world a little bit now.
Yeah,
He's making fun of me earlier because I was older, right? I'll own it for this. You don't know how a baby's going to turn out. I've seen some kids before they're 13, and I think this kid's a nut. And they turn out to be the best adults.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got these little behaved kids. They do everything mom and daddy says, and they grow up and they're horrible.
Yeah.
You don't know. So quit being so quick to judge little babies. They still got to be corrected and stuff. So I think there were times that Mary and Joseph had to say, no, don't do that. Don't touch that Jesus. And he was like, okay. He quit.
Yeah.
I think so.
So you have the birth narratives, like that's clearly human stuff. You have like Luke 2:52 that says that Jesus grew. So like, we know he's a little boy to a man. He's growing in stature.
Just think about what good parents Joseph and Mary must have been. Because I sinned against my kids a bunch, and like they were the perfect parents for him. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. They sinned against him probably too.
I'm sure. But, the only time
every sin they ever sinned against
him. The only time I think Jesus ever almost probably caught a whipping was when he didn't get in the train back, when he was 12.
Yeah.
They lost him for 3 days. I always think about like, man, Jesus was a 90s kid. In a way, because they wasn't keeping up with their kids good, man.
Yeah.
They got 3 days down the road or something, and we're like, where is Jesus? And they're like, I thought he was in John's wagon train. They're like, no, he ain't with us. We thought he was with you. And they're like, we left Jesus in Jerusalem. We have the Messiah, and we left him behind in Jerusalem with 2 million people. Can you imagine the freak out that was?
Yeah.
I would love to, if I was a director, there are a lot of little movies I'd like to make. One is The Lowering of the Guy Through the Roof. I would love to make that movie because it would be hilarious. Just a little 20-minute short. When Mary and Joseph realized they didn't have Jesus.
That's a good one.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I got some friends, shout out to, I won't say their names, they might get embarrassed, but like they lost their kid at Disney World for a little bit.
Oh.
Just a little bit, just a minute. Like turn around, they're gone. Hey, if you haven't been to Disney World, that's easier to do.
Yeah.
That's easy to do.
Yeah, Disney World's crazy.
And they were like, where is our kid?
Why aren't you going to say who it is?
I don't want, they don't listen anyway, probably.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, they lost Jesus for a little bit. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
And he was in the temple. And this is why I think I would have whipped him because I'm a sinful man. But when Jesus told them, they're like, where have you been? And he said, did you not know I had to be in my Father's house? But boy, get out to that cart right now. Your mama's been worried sick. I'd be whooping him. That's why God didn't make me his dad, probably.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you did whoop Jesus? Oh, my goodness.
Well,
I don't know, man. Have a stern talking to with Jesus?
It's like, I think like, all of our sin is against Christ.
I know.
All of our sin is.
I know.
I
don't know, man.
I feel like it'd be particularly shameful.
Oh, I know. I'm just glad that it was.
Look, when you yelled at Zoe and she didn't deserve it, it's the same. You're yelling at Christ.
I'm grateful to Joseph and Mary.
Yeah. Here's another one. Matthew 4, verse 2. It's when Jesus goes out and fasts. He was hungry. Jesus hungers.
Well, you don't eat for 40 days. That'll happen to you.
Well, humanity.
Yeah.
We're talking about his humanity.
Yeah.
Right? And same with his thirst on the cross. It's like his thirst, right?
Yeah.
I thirst.
He had to take a nap one time. He was sleeping.
Yeah, he sleep fatigued. John 4, I think is another one of those. Now this was also the second, John 4:6, not 54. It says, so Jacob, he was worn out from his journey. He sat down at the well. At the Samaritan woman.
Yeah, and
he gets tired, fatigued.
To me, it's just so. To me, the humanity of Jesus is the easiest.
It's easy for you. It's difficult for a lot of religious people to not the fact of it. They know the fact of it. It's what are the implications here? Because the issue it comes down to is like in what way was Christ emptied?
Yeah.
Of his. Of what? Of his deity?
Emptied himself. Philippians 2.
It's the Philippians 2 passage. He emptied himself.
Before we get to emptied himself, Hebrews just flat tells us he was like us in every way.
Yeah.
Every way like we were, so that he could be a sympathetic high priest in every way like us, yet without sin. And I think that's where a lot of people get messed up. Mm-hmm. They're like, Jesus is not like me because he's without sin. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't understand. But the Bible says he's tempted in every way, just as we are, yet without sin.
Yeah.
So how can you be tempted without a sin nature? Well, we can talk about that. But yeah, he.
Here's a good question to help people like articulate it. Did Jesus know he was God when he was a child?
I don't know. I don't know.
This is the kind of stuff that people want to know.
I don't know.
You know.
Well, it's like he had access to the omniscience of God.
Was he omniscient and omnipresent, or I could say, ever present and all powerful?
Yeah.
While
as
he was
a
on earth.
6-month-old.
Yeah.
I reckon. I don't know. Which way makes me not a heretic?
Yeah.
What did Augustine say? Just to go with him.
I don't know. Those are the kind of questions. That's what they're trying to.
That's the kind of questions the Bible doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
It never says.
We don't know. We know that there are some things that Jesus doesn't know, and he expresses that. We actually know one thing, and that's when his return will be.
Yeah, and there's a couple times he's surprised.
Yeah.
What surprised means you're receiving a piece of information.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
So there was when the centurion has a sick servant.
Yeah.
And he sends somebody down to talk to Jesus. And the guy says, hey, my master's got a servant that's really sick. He's a great dude. If you'd come heal him, it'd mean a lot to everybody. So Jesus starts to go up there, but the centurion meets him. He's like, hey, I'm a Gentile. Don't come in my house, Lord. I know it'll make you unclean. I'm a man under orders. I understand orders. If you'll just say the word, I know that my servant will be made whole.
Yeah.
And it says that Jesus, it might be translated, marveled.
Mm-hmm.
Or that he was surprised.
Yeah.
And he looks around and he says, I've not found this great of faith in all of Israel. Let it be to you as you've said. And it says, and from that hour his servant was made well. I think the woman who said, even the puppies eat the food that falls from the master's table, I think he marveled at her faith too.
Yeah, I think so too.
And he was like, whoa.
All the Gentiles who show faith, he is surprised
He's a little bit surprised. So surprise means an unexpected thing. How do you have an unexpected moment? Or here's a question. Jesus walking through the crowd, man, they're squishing in on him. And this woman is in the crowd who's had an issue of blood for 7 years or something? All the physicians have taken all of her money and she's not gotten better. And she said, if I could just touch the hem of his garment when he passes by, I'll be made well. And when Jesus comes by, she reaches out and touches his garment. He doesn't know. She's doing it clandestinely.
Yeah.
She touches it, and she feels immediately she's made well. And he stops, and he says, oh, Gertrude touched my robe. He doesn't. He says, who touched me? And they're like, Lord, what are you talking about? We're in the middle of a pressing crowd. What do you mean? He said, no.
I felt power.
Someone touched me. The power went out from me. Who did it? Why is he asking? Does he know and not know? I think he didn't know. He was like, who did this? And the woman's like, I did.
It could have been that he knew. He did, because he did that sometimes.
Yeah, it could be, but it seems like in that spot. But here's the thing. There's so much about that miracle that's neat because she had an issue of blood. She's unclean.
Yeah.
When she touched him, he should have been made unclean.
Oh, yeah. But
instead, because he's God,
Yeah.
he cannot be made unclean.
Yeah.
She was forced to be healed. She was right.
Yeah.
That's incredible little flip-flop to think about there. So, yeah, I think there are moments when Jesus seems to not know stuff. And if you say, well, did Jesus know he was God when he was a little baby or 6 months old or 3? I think a lot of people will give you some pretty assured answers. We don't really know what's going on.
There are other times where Jesus certainly has supernatural knowledge.
Now, he did know by the time he was 12.
Yeah.
Because he calls it his father's house.
He has this supernatural knowledge at lots of other times where he knows the thoughts of the people he's talking to.
Hey, mind reading.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he knows their thoughts. And that's godlike knowledge. And he does, obviously he's a miracle worker and doing incredible things. So there's power there. There's power over the creation. He can make, coins come out of fish mouth, and
yeah, he knew which one had got the coin.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously powerful.
Obviously.
And so whatever it means that he emptied himself, we just know that he did. We don't know what that is.
My best, you want to hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's talking about his glory, because it talks about him being the only begotten of the Father, and we don't see him glorified on earth, except for once. He goes to the Mount of Transfiguration, right? And he goes, wow. And then I love how Mark's gospel describes it. It says his robe was wider than any launder could launder it.
Yeah.
So it's somehow the presence, you in Isaiah, it talks about this, like there was nothing about him that would draw us to him. He wasn't particularly handsome. He wasn't particularly tall. He wasn't particularly charismatic. You wouldn't, if Jesus walked by you on the streets of Jerusalem, you would just think, well, there goes another Jewish guy. Who's that guy? And so I think that's what it is. He's emptied of this presence where when you see him, you know him.
Yeah.
And he takes that back upon himself in the resurrection.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I don't think he was emptied of like omniscience or power or whatever. It's there.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think you're right. By 12, he definitely knows he has a special relationship.
Now, does
with
he
God.
know everything? No, maybe not.
And it
somehow.
might be the baptism moment around that or something. That's a wild moment.
Yes.
Where the Father speaks, "This is my Son who I'm well pleased in." And Jesus is filled with the Holy Spirit. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. But it wouldn't have been like what's the adoptionist kind of view. People, they have that. There are these heretics out there that.
So he was a plain old human being.
Yeah.
Until approximately 30, and he becomes the Son of God at his baptism.
Yeah. That's the adoption view.
That's adoptionism. That's an old heresy.
Yeah,
too.
it's a heresy.
But you can see how they get there. They're trying to figure this out.
These are the questions that they're asking. They're looking at these passages, the same ones we're looking at. And we're like, okay, human, God, how do these things get to work together?
Yeah.
And over in the couple centuries that follow the resurrection of Christ, I mean, they're having all these questions. They're trying to figure out how to well articulate it, and it makes that struggle make sense. You want to say it well.
Yeah, so the adoptionists don't have to worry about whether or not he knew everything when he was a baby or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just skip all that.
That's right.
Yeah.
You want to say it right, and you want to use the scripture. You want to not neglect the scriptures. You don't want to have this one verse that's that messes everything up. So you want to be true to the scriptures, and it takes a while to articulate it. And that's what happens. If you know anything about church history, there are what we call heresies that pop up, Christological heresies that pop up early on, where there are people that are kind of banging their fist on a articulation of who Christ is.
Yeah.
That has big problems to it.
Here's the thing. The heresy is not the speculation, right? So let's say that you're sitting there in the first century and you're working on this like we are here, and you don't have church history or Miller Derrickson's systematic theology or nothing, right? And you say, well, maybe Jesus became the Son of God, at his baptism.
Yeah.
And then you go, yeah, that can't be it because of how John reacts to him in the womb, or in when Jesus says that the Lord is his Father in the temple at 12 years old. And then you go, yeah, I guess you're right. And so they're doing that stuff. If you abandon the position, you're not a heretic anymore.
That's right.
So it's the folks that get in trouble, the ones that won't let it go.
The ones
Arius.
that are surrounded by the bishops, the elders, and they're like, They just won't stop, banging their drum on it.
Yeah,
and despite the rest of Christianity's leadership saying no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I understand the struggle, that a lot of people had trying to articulate it. What do they settle on, Brad?
Who?
What do the councils settle on for the articulation
it's
of
part
Jesus?
by part. So the very first one was the struggle over is he divine? Is he full? Is he truly God? We don't say fully. We say truly. There's a reason for that. But anyway, you can say fully, but truly is the correct word. When the 325 Council of Nicaea, the question is Jesus a created being? Is the Son of God a created being? And Arius says yes. There was a time when he was not. And the council overwhelmingly said no. He is begotten, not made. The Son of God is eternal. He is consubstantial with the Father, or he is homoousios, same substance as the Father. The Son of God is the same substance as the Father. So 325, we're dealing with that. If you go about 126 years into the future, 451, you have the council. It's so funny that I can remember that, and I can't remember what my wife tells me to pick up at the grocery store on the way home. But 451, the Council of Chalcedon or Chalcedon, I'm not sure how you say it because I've only ever read it. We're talking about how is Jesus a human being and divine, and his emphasis on humanity, because there was a couple of heresies out by that point, and we're not even sure how heretical or serious one of them was, because we only have his opponents. We don't have his writing. It's Nestorius. And sometimes I hear Nestorianism, just so you know. Nestorian was like, he emphasized the two natures of Christ, that is, that he is divine and that he is human, so hard that it started sounding like there were two persons. Like there was a Son of God person in there, and there was a Son of Man person in there. And the Council of Chalcedon says, no, we've got one person who is Jesus and two natures, human and divine. And these are joined together in a mysterious hypostatic union. So we don't confound those two things. He doesn't become a third thing, a God-man. He is God and man, one person in Jesus. And so sometimes this
what is a hypostatic union?
It's a really tight fit.
Yeah, explain stuff like that.
So a hypostatic union, maybe the best way I can say it, is that the two natures of Jesus are divine and human. They are joined together in such a way that they can never be separated, but they do not mix. So they're conjoined or consubstantial. And in 451 in Chalcedon, it says that the divinity of Jesus is homoousios, or same substance of the Father, consubstantial with God, and the human nature is consubstantial with people. So he is absolutely human. He's absolutely divine.
Why does that matter?
For a couple of reasons.
Because it doesn't sound like it matters.
It matters because we have to have God to forgive our sin. Okay? Only God can forgive sin. We have to have a man to represent us in that sin offering. One man fell, one man brings righteousness, is Romans 5. We have to have a man to be our king. We have to have a God to be our Savior. We need both of those things. If either of those are off, we're not saved. Because God puts rebellion to death in human flesh so that human beings can live. If Jesus was not a human being, how could he represent us on the cross? And if he's not divine, how can he forgive sin? The Pharisees were right. Only God can forgive sin. Only God can save, but we need a human representative, and that's why Jesus has to be God and man. But you'll hear this in Nestorian heresy sometimes when you say, Jesus asked, Father, let this cup pass from me, nevertheless not my will be done. He was suffering, he was in pain in his human part. Don't do that.
But not his God part?
Yeah, don't do that. Because you're starting to separate those persons. Jesus suffered. There's only one person there.
Yeah.
Now, how does, you say, are you saying the Son of God died? I'll say, the Son of God experienced death. He didn't die the way you think. Okay, first of all, people don't die like you think they do anyways. You don't actually go away. You pass from this life to the next, right? So your spirit doesn't die. Mm-hmm. Your soul doesn't die, whatever you want to call that. So God doesn't die. And in this way, the human spirit of the nature of Jesus, his human spirit.
You're saying bodies die.
Bodies die.
Yeah.
And the Son of God experienced death in Jesus somehow. It's mysterious. Now, God can't die, on the other hand. God can't die in the sense that, but nobody dies like that.
Well, yeah, no one.
Nothing.
Yeah, because his body died, though.
Yeah, his body died, and he experienced death for us. And so Jesus, and it's a great mystery. Enjoy it. Worship it. Marvel at it. But we have one person named Jesus who exists in two natures, God and man. Truly God, truly man, exists in two natures, joined together in the fancy word called a hypostatic union, which means they are joined never to be separated, yet not joined in such a way that they mix the essence. So like you might think of the world's most powerful magnet or something like that it is joined like H2O. But it doesn't make a third thing like water. Yeah. We're getting into the place where you start talking about the Trinity.
Yeah.
And you start trying to give examples for it. And none of it really works because there's nothing like him. There's nothing like the hypostatic union. There's nothing like the person of Jesus.
Yeah. So those are some of the first issues. And, they didn't pop up again. Like they kind of settled down when it came to who Jesus was for a while. Mm-hmm. Orthodoxy, those weren't the big issues.
Well, by that point, Christianity was the religion of the empire, and they enforced it with the sword.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
So they did pop up, and then they got popped down.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It wasn't like any kind of controversy that would generate a council where you had, a bunch of bishops.
Well, the last council, the seventh one, is still dealing with the nature and humanity of Christ and divinity. It is the council of, can we use icons in worship? Can we draw pictures of Jesus?
Yeah.
And they were like, absolutely, we can draw pictures of Jesus. He's a human being. Mm-hmm. And the other side was like, hey, we're Presbyterians over here. You cannot.
They weren't yet, by the way.
Yeah, they weren't yet, but they believe the same thing. Yeah. You can't draw a picture of Jesus because he's God.
Yeah.
And they said, stop denying his humanity.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said, stop denying his divinity.
Yeah.
And so they had a punch up.
It was a bit of a silly one, honestly. I think they're getting bored.
I think it was a big deal because they were burning stuff down. Iconodules and iconoclasts is what they call them. Iconodules, lovers of icons. Iconoclasts, people who hated them. And I think the iconodules were right.
Yeah. So those are some of the older issues. The newer issues around Christology and Jesus are stuff that folks have a problem with. Like this is it all kind of stems from living in a world that has rejected supernaturalism of any sort, any kind of spiritual realm and any kind of miraculous moment. Okay.
Any kind of spirit at all.
Yeah. They're naturalists. That's what we call them, secularists or naturalists. And that's in a lot of ways becoming the default worldview of our world, and so the way it plays out in Christology is this idea called the search for the historical Jesus. I know you know about this. Yeah, you should look this up sometime. It's fun. The search for the historical Jesus.
I think there's been two.
There has. Yeah. It started in the I guess it's the late 1800s. When's Harnack around?
I don't know.
Yeah. There's a German guy named Harnack.
Them Germans always causing trouble.
Yeah, German liberalism was a problem for a long time.
I mean, just period.
Yeah, Germans.
We love you though.
Jesus still loves you.
Luther.
They started this idea they had this idea that when you read the Bible, when you read the Gospels about Jesus, that what you're reading can't have been the real Jesus. Yeah. There is a tradition, a mythological kind of
his legend grew.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they would say. Miracle working didn't happen. That was attributed to him after his death. Mm-hmm. They're starting to look at the Bible in a very critical way, like a bad critical way. And really what they're doing is they're taking their own worldview and reading it back into the Bible, their own kind of critical, skeptical worldview and reading it back in the Bible. And I love this quote by George Tyrrell. He's a Catholic guy that was kind of commenting on the historical Jesus movement. And because they're trying to figure out who was the real Jesus, they're going to pare it back and just, this is who.
They actually had colored beads.
This is the second one. We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
George Tyrrell says this: the Christ that Harnack sees, looking back through 19 centuries of Catholic darkness, is only the reflection of a liberal Protestant face seen at the bottom of a deep well. So they're looking back and they're just seeing themselves.
Yeah.
That Jesus was really this moralistic teacher, anti-miraculous naturalist guy. Mm-hmm. That's who Jesus really was. They just found themselves. They pared everything back until they could just find themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a really good, I think that's a really good critique of that first historical Jesus movement. The second one was with the Jesus Seminar. Right. And that's where they did the beads, where they took like every phrase of the Gospels.
Yeah.
And like they had these beads where they vote on them to see if they think Jesus actually said this or not.
Yeah.
And
one color was like definite. And then on the other end was like, he did not say that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they end up with like,
and Jesus didn't say nothing,
a couple paragraphs or something and it's all presuppositional stuff. It's like they just have it. So basically, if it was a miracle, it can't be. Right.
So the critical view of Scripture doesn't always mean bad, but it did become it. It kind of started with how the Germans, Julius Wellhausen, was doing the Old Testament. He starts dissecting it, and he's like, man, what we've got here is like 4 different documents written at different times. You've got the Yahwist, you've got the Elohist, you've got the priestly, and then you've got the Deuteronomic. And he's like, this Torah has been composed and changed over the centuries. And if you look really careful between the lines, you can find the older documents and you can find the newer documents. You can find the stuff the priests just added in there after the temple, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I think that's garbage, by the way.
Yeah, it's called the...
JDP.
Oh, what's it called? Documentary hypothesis. Yeah. There you go. JDP. Yahwist, Elohist, priestly, and Deuteronomic. Anyway, so they thought, well, that was really interesting. Let's do that with the New Testament.
Yep.
That's pretty much what happened.
It is. They're trying to look at the New Testament and say, this is what's original. This is what Paul added or someone along those lines.
But I will say, he said the documentary hypothesis is garbage. It's not completely. There are some evidences of some older documents in there.
Yeah.
There's some stuff.
It's not that though.
Well, you can't disassemble it.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't.
Right.
You don't know what note is from where, and it doesn't work as neatly as Wellhausen claimed because he wanted to say the Yahweh stuff was added later.
Yeah.
But sometimes his name pops up really early. There's other things. But there are spots where you should be evident, like, why is he calling Moses' father-in-law 3 names in 2 chapters? Or why is he saying this place is called Luz, which today is called Bethel? Like somebody wrote in there, which today is called Bethel, after the original document was put in there.
Yeah.
So you see that stuff, but what happens is they take these things and they go nuts with it. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, I can find all the seams where this thing is knitted together. It's like, no, you can't, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
They were probably reading all these documents and they wrote it down as a document. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, that's right.
There you
go. All the attempts to try to pare back the rest of the New Testament just to find the actual Jesus in it, catastrophic failures, really. Because they all showed themselves to be like deeply presuppositional. Whatever view they had, like, was reflected in what they chose, and so it automatically rejected any miraculous, which was one of what the Harnack's main views is. We know miracles don't exist, therefore all of this is garbage.
Right. So I just wonder about this, guys. Why? Just don't be a Christian. Just stop it. Go do something else. Leave it alone. Christianity is founded on a miraculous God.
Yes.
So stop it. If you don't believe in miracles, you're not a Christian. Yep. You don't get to claim it. Sorry, go do something else.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ rose from the dead, ascended to the right hand of God forever and ever, died for sinners. If you don't believe that, you're not a Christian. Stop it.
Yeah. And that's right. The presupposition of Christianity is that there is a God. Yes, there is a God who lives outside of our space and time and is powerful over everything and can change and do anything.
And he's bigger than the boogeyman.
Yes.
He's bigger than Godzilla and the monsters on TV.
And so he can do whatever he wants. And he can interrupt the physical laws of this world because he created them.
So, like, if you're playing a video game and you've made it, right? You might say Skyrim or something. You're in this little RPG. And you say, this guy inside this game is self-aware, but he doesn't know I've programmed him, right? You can hit that little, what's it called, a tilde, and you can give yourself infinite money.
Yeah.
And to somebody observing inside that universe, they'll be like, this is not possible.
Yeah.
This is a miracle. 10,000 gold coins just fell from the sky.
Yep.
God can do that with our reality. He's got the little tilde. He can cheat. He can do that. He got the cheat codes, man. He can raise people up from the dead.
Yep.
He can put it in God mode.
Yeah.
He can do whatever. There's a reason they call it God mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so obvious.
That's right. The issue isn't if miracles exist or not. Okay. If you are in the worldview, like you've accepted there is a God, therefore there are miracles.
Yes.
Okay. If you're an anti-supernaturalist, you're not a Christian. Okay, you're not, and that's a different thing completely. Like you need to go back and think about the existence of God some, because you've probably underthought about it. And so a lot of the new issues about Jesus, finding the historical Jesus, what did Jesus really do? What did he really say? A lot of that is just based on your own presupposition that Jesus could not have done miracles.
He could not be God.
Yeah, he couldn't. That's right. They couldn't be God. He's just a human teacher or something.
So silly,
right?
So if he's not God and he doesn't do miracles, what's left in the New Testament? Oh, Jesus fasted in the wilderness.
Yeah.
No, he couldn't have done it for 40 days, though. He would have died.
All they just want the Sermon on the Mount.
That's all they want.
They want the Sermon on the Mount, which is, I love the Sermon on the Mount. It's great.
Yeah.
But they just want that. They want that moral vision of Jesus, but without any of the responsibility.
Who was
towards it?
One of those guys said that the prophets were just religious geniuses. And I was like, what?
Religious geniuses.
Anyway,
Oh, man.
Jesus, truly God, truly man.
Here's another one.
Okay.
Another contemporary issue about Jesus, people have with Jesus. And these are people who would less say have an issue with him being God, but more about what he said. And they want to know, was Jesus wrong about his prophecies in his second coming? As he keeps on talking about, like you have the Olivet Discourse, you have his prediction that he is coming soon. Within this generation will not pass away, right? Before they see the coming of the Son of Man, right? And they look at that and say, well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Jesus must have just been wrong. What do you think about that?
He wasn't wrong.
What does it mean then?
What? Doesn't he say this generation? He doesn't say the Son of Man will return. He says until these things take place.
Yeah. But so part of that is the coming of the Son of Man.
The preterist understanding, like he's talking about the destruction of the temple and stuff that happened before 70 AD. No, Jesus wasn't wrong. I don't know. I'm sticking to that.
But explain it, like how he was, like what was he saying then?
I don't know which passage you're talking about exactly, but just because I don't know. Okay, here's another thing we should talk about. Presuppositional stuff. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the world, according to, what is it, Van Til? Mm-hmm. Having a presupposition is logical. You have to have presuppositions. And you just the trick to a presupposition is you just have to own it. Right? Yeah. You might say, there is a God. Okay, that's my presupposition. If you have a presupposition, there is no God, because an atheist would say to you, I guess he would say, you can't prove that there's a God. But they would also admit, I can't prove there is no God.
That's right.
I can only say to you, I can't find him. No matter where I'm looking. Yeah. No matter what rock I turn. So one of my presuppositions is that Jesus is always right.
Yeah. But they're looking at it and they want to know, like, what is he talking about then? Because you have Matthew 24. Mm-hmm. He says this is where you get into the Olivet Discourse. And he talks about, let's look down here. The nations are going to rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom. They're going to hand you over to be persecuted. We talked about this stuff a good bit with the
Revelation,
the end time series that we did. Yeah. And then he says, immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not shed its light. The stars will fall from the sky and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. And then all the peoples of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. He will send out his angels with a loud trumpet, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. And then after this, he says, now concerning that day and hour, no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, except the Father alone. And then be on alert, since you don't know what day your Lord is coming. But know this: if the homeowner had known what time the thief was coming, he would have stayed alert and not let his house be broken into. This is why you are also to be ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Now, when does he say he says this generation will not pass away? I thought that was part of that one.
I think it's in Luke, but
the Luke version.
I think he's talking about this terrible destruction in time of horror, and that's why we get the preterist position that he's talking about the destruction of the temple in 70 AD, and that took place.
I think I just skipped it. I missed it. Yeah,
stop skipping.
Yeah,
stuff.
I skipped verse 34. That was it. Yeah, truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things take place. All right. I mean, so it's like you're gonna see. The sun will darken, the moon will not shed its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and then all the peoples of the earth will mourn. Right? They're going to see this stuff, and truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away.
Yeah. So this is a lot of people handle this a different way. So this is where your dispensationalists and other folks, futurists, say, well, he's talking about when these signs happen. The shaking of the stars and the sign of the Son of Man, all this stuff is in a future date. And once you start seeing that stuff happen, get your rapture seatbelt on, because the end is nigh. He didn't necessarily mean this very generation I'm talking to right here. You're not going to die till all this stuff happens.
Yeah.
Or it could be that He's the God of the living, not the God of the dead. So that generation is still alive in heaven, waiting for the rest of this stuff to happen. They're going to see it.
Yeah.
Because they're still alive.
Yeah. The one of the biggest issues with it is in verse 29, where he says immediately after the distress of those days. Mm-hmm. And a lot of folks, they're taking that to mean the destruction of the temple, right, in 70 AD. Because that's when the abomination of desolation, all that kind of stuff, and that's in that passage. Here's the thing: is like, I probably the easiest way to think about this is that these aren't nearly as time stamped as we want them to be, as you might expect it to be. Well, we don't really know if that's what this is about.
Also,
the destruction of the temple.
There were people who took it that way in the Bible times.
Yep.
And Paul had to rebuke them, because he was like, hey, I heard there's people that said that Jesus already came back among you, and that some people are being idle and they're not working because they say Jesus is about to come back any second. He said, if they don't work, they don't eat.
That's First Corinthians.
Yeah. What are you? Yeah. Man, the Corinthians.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to their misbehavior.
Yeah, we learned a lot because of it.
We learned so much.
Yeah. And so when people look at this and say, well, Jesus was wrong, well, actually, that interpretation is what's wrong. Mm-hmm. Like that this has to be about 70 AD. It most certainly does not. There's not really a timestamp on it. It's like talking about persecution and lawlessness.
Wars against nations.
Yeah, I mean, dude. That's been the status quo.
Yeah.
For about 6,000 years,
He also says, how can he say, think about this. Jesus would have to be dumb because he just said, I don't know when this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Only the Father and the angels know.
Yeah. He said that.
Why would he say so confidently, it's going to be inside this generation? I just don't know when it's going to happen at all.
Yeah.
That in the same breath, almost.
The generation, it is actually the verse it's the verse right after that. He says, truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Now concerning that day or hour, no one knows. So generation, he must be using it pretty relatively. Like he's talking about this age, that they're, the people who are receiving this are included.
So, Christians will say, most Christians will say, we are in the last days.
We've been saying that for 2,000 years.
We are in the last days
with
because
confidence.
Nothing else needs to happen for the Lord to finish this thing up. The Messiah has come. The Messiah has atoned for sin. The Messiah is in heaven. We're in the last days. We're not waiting on any great prophetic thing except for the end. So this is the end.
That's right. Yep. That's it. Yeah. So
this generation can mean that.
That's right. Yeah. And it likely does. That's the meaning of that. So Jesus wasn't wrong. Like people are just reading it a little unfairly. If you're reading the Gospels trying to find a gotcha moment, I mean, you can make one up. Like you can purposefully, people do this all the time when you watch like a political debate. They will purposefully misunderstand someone, right, in like a political debate so that they have a launch point, right? And their whole response could be, well, I didn't mean that. It was like, well, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? They just saw a launch point. And that's what happens a lot of times with the secularists looking at a passage like this.
They like to play like they're looking at it though with no bias.
Well, the people who abuse the Bible the most are the most literal readers of it. Both the super fundamentalists who, claim a perfectly literal translation, and the secularists who also do the same thing. One side starts their defense with their super literalism. The other side starts their attack with it.
Well, here's the thing. You're not going to find something we hadn't noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you're curious, like, what does Jesus mean by this generation? He must be wrong. Surely. And then you imagine that there's 2,000 years of Christians who've been like, oh no, they finally found that spot. They found
the one spot we're all afraid of.
Oh no. I mean, we clearly have an explanation for it that it doesn't bother us and we're still Christians.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you may not like our explanation, but
you may think we're ostriches with our head in the sand. We're not,
Yeah, we're not. I mean, so are you.
Yeah, yeah. So there we have Jesus. He is truly God, truly man.
From the scriptures.
From the scriptures. That's not
affirmed
Christian.
by the fathers.
Yeah.
Stamped in the councils.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If you don't believe this, that Jesus Christ is truly God and truly man, joined together in a hypostatic union, one person, two natures, you're a heretic.
Yep.
And you're not a Christian.
Yep.
Now, here's the good news. That means, here's who gets to be Christians. Roman Catholics.
Yeah.
Orthodox. Baptists. Most Pentecostals.
Come on.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Some of them are oneness.
Some of them are anti-Trinitarian.
Methodists.
Yeah.
Anglicans. Most of them.
Yeah.
Are there any Episcopalians left that are still?
Yeah.
Okay, we got some of them. I meant that seriously.
I don't know.
Most of Christendom.
Yep.
Okay.
They all agree with this. Yeah.
Yes.
People who don't.
People who don't. Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
Mormons.
They are not Christians.
They're not.
Yeah.
Shoot, I don't know. Oneness Pentecostals.
Yeah. Obviously, Muslims aren't, but
Muslims.
they don't claim to be.
No.
Yeah.
They are a Christian heresy, though, kind of.
Yeah. They are. They are actually.
Yeah. Who else?
I don't know. Whatever. Choose your cult. Yeah.
Choose your cult.
Yeah. So
Gnostics. Are there any Gnostics left?
They are, but they don't know it.
Mushroom cult people.
Yeah, the mushroom cult people.
There.
Joe Rogan. Yeah,
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's most of them.
All right. That's what we have to say about who Jesus is. Next time, we're going to be talking about what he did. This is the person of Jesus. We're going to talk about the work of Christ next time.
Did I mention Presbyterians?
I think you said
I
Presbyterians.
want to make sure they're in there.
Oh, Presbyterians are good. Yeah, they're okay.
They're okay.
All right. You have anything else you want to say?
Jesus is awesome.
He is great.
We
great. Love him a lot.
Also, I will go ahead and say Mary is awesome.
Yeah, his mom.
I'm not going to say nothing bad about Mary ever. I do think she sinned, though.
Yeah, she did sin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think she had other children.
She definitely had other children. That's a Bible verse.
Literally. Well, they can mean cousins.
Oh, my gosh. I roll. All right. We'll see you guys next time on the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Bye.